might say, to a gathering like this. And perhaps a good starting point is what does Patanjali say as far as defining what yoga is, what its goal is, what its objective is, and could that serve for us in the modern age as a workable definition of yoga?
Well, the definition of yoga is set out right at the beginning of the Yoga Sutras, the second verse, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which is that yoga is the stilling of the mind. And the basic premise of classical yoga is that consciousness is distinct from the mind, and that the ultimate self, the goal of yoga is to realize the ultimate self, known as the Atman or the Purusha, and that is something that is beyond the body and the mind. In order to experience that self, then the mind, the fluctuations of mind have to be still. So yoga is essentially practice that's dedicated to stilling the mind. It's more commonly known as dhyana in the older texts. And this definition, Patanjali sort of writes the Yoga Sutras, and from the time that he writes the sutras, the Yoga Sutras then becomes the sort of standard text for what yoga is. But yoga, of course, is to be found in many places in the older texts. There's references to yoga in the Upanishads, in the old section of the Mahabharata, in old sections of the Puranas, and there's obviously variants. But the one common denominator of what yoga is in all of those texts, and right up until the modern period, despite all the variants, tantric variants and bhakti variants and karma yoga variants and so on and so forth, but the one common denominator is it involves the stilling of the mind. So any definition of yoga that's going to be recognized by the pre-modern tradition is going to involve some kind of practice that involves stilling the mind in order to attain a higher truth that lies beyond the mind, whatever that is. And then there may be differences, but that's the common denominator.
I just ask a follow-up to that. Could we conclude that if that's not happening, what's happening might look like yoga, smell like yoga, and be on a yoga mat, but is not yoga? Is that a fair sort of leap to take?
It's not for me to say. Words take their own meaning. Words change. Nobody has a monopoly and can sort of fossilize the meanings of words. I mean, look at the word bad. It meant something for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden, at a certain point, bad in a certain hip-hop culture becomes good all of a sudden. So words can totally, take different meanings. But if the question is, what is yoga? How was yoga understood prior to coming to the West for 2,000 years? If that's the question, then the answer to that, I think, can be articulated fairly with some confidence. That yoga meant some sort of a practice that involved the stilling of the mind in order to get to experience, not theologize or philosophize about, but to experience a higher truth that lies beyond the mind. That's a common commonality in all variants that yoga has taken in the pre-modern period. So if the question is, what is it in the pre-modern period, then that would be the answer. In my view.
Well, yes, absolutely, that's 100% correct and agreeable. And as well, in the beginning of the Vyasa commentaries of the Yoga Sutra, one of the first things he does is after Atha Yoga Anushasanam, defines yoga as samadhi and samadhi as concentration. And that there are generally 5 different states of mind that we can be in at any one given time. And that concentration is possible in any of these 5 states of mind. So we can be in a distracted state of mind but still have intense concentration in our distraction. We can have a state of mind where sometimes we're distracted and sometimes we're concentrated. And during those periods when we're not distracted, that's where our concentration comes. And then there can be concentration of the mind when we're completely one-pointed focused